So I've always wondered what would happen if you put a Tide Pod in your dishwasher instead of like the dish soap pod thing. Like, would it explode or like what would happen? So today I decided to sacrifice my Android phone to record it. And I turned the flash on and put it in my dishwasher. And then once it was recording inside there, I closed it up and started the dishwasher on the low cycle. But after a few minutes, it started shaking a lot. And I noticed that there was water leaking and dripping out the bottom. So I panicked and I canceled it and I opened it up and I took the phone out and somehow it survived and was still working. So I played the video to see what happened and... every time you're not running, Ed Sheeran gets closer. I was scrolling through Tinder because the last person I met was when I was at the Apple store and came across some girl's number that she left on an iPad. So I took it and went home and tried texting it and just said hi, and then she replied asking if she could come over for some eggplant. And I panicked because I've never cooked eggplant before. But I remembered I could make eggplant parmesan, so I was looking for recipes on Google when I realized I accidentally typed in eggplant permission. Anyways, she said she was 30 minutes away and I ended up running to the grocery store to buy some eggplant. So I grabbed some eggplants and then I needed the parmesan. So I went up to this giant wheel of parmesan they had, but I couldn't lift it, so I just got a little piece. Anyways, I went home and chopped up the eggplant and dropped some on the ground, but I used the 5-minute rule because I'm half white. And I put it in the pan, and then I added some cheese and was gonna bake it when I found a spider in my oven. So I baked that instead until he was nice and crispy, and then I threw the eggplant in, and it was finally ready. So I sent her a picture of the eggplant parmesan and said, "You ready for this eggplant?" But then all of a sudden my texts to her were green, and I heard tires screeching outside. Anyways, now I'm back on Tinder, so if anyone wants a serving of eggplant parmesan, make sure you match with me. I like to collect mold off of my old moldy bread and put it in a baggie that I keep in my pocket, so whenever I'm out and about at an overpriced restaurant getting an overpriced $15 acai bowl, I can order one and then eat the whole thing, and then once I'm done, I take out my mold babies and pop one in so I can take it to the register and go full Karen mode and show them the mold, and then boom, baby! Refund. I've done this in the past with dead flies at Olive Garden, but I like having bread in my pocket instead of dead decaying flies. Anyways, I wanted to give my mom some makeup, so I tried it at Sephora by putting some mold in the makeup, and then I brought the sample to the manager, and I got a free one. And then I sanitized my hands to get the mold off, of course. Anyways, after Sephora, I really wanted some tortilla chips, so I grabbed a bag, opened it up, popped some mold in, and then boom! I took it to the cashier, and I got a refund, baby. And then when I got home, I took a bite and forgot to take the mold out! Boom, baby, mold poisoning. Today, my Mima told me that she bought an NFT, and I was like, Mima, you just asked me if Mark Zuckerberg was my girlfriend. How do you know what an NFT is? So anyways, I was using one of those head massagers when I got a knock at the door, and when I answered, no one was there except for a box with a towel in it and some noodles, with a note that said, NFT, noodly fun towel. And it wasn't even fun, it was soaking wet in some mysterious liquid. And I was about to put it away in my closet when I got the idea that I could actually make it into an NFT and get some use out of it. So I made some room and I took a picture of it and made it look all pretty, and I minted it on Bubble House and made it free for a limited time. And I emailed her back and told her to go claim one before they're all gone. And even her bingo club can get one, and even you. And we can play bingo together on Bubble House with my Mima and her bingo group. Every day I bike past this fenced-off neighborhood near me that's radioactive from a nuclear meltdown. But today I decided to explore it, so I went through a gap in the fence, and after walking for about 10 minutes, I got to this mysterious door in the middle of nowhere, so I did a little knock and let myself in and closed it behind me to be polite to the radiation. Anyways, I went down the stairs and saw, some interesting artifacts that I was not exactly a fan of. And I continued through the bunker and found a very inviting door that made me feel super safe, which led to more stairs that had my knees cracking like Rice Krispies. Anyways, I eventually got to this tunnel and some doors at the end of it that said danger, do not enter. But I went in because my middle name is Danger. Just kidding, it's Emil. And after I went through the door, it closed behind me and I tried everything but couldn't open it up because it was locked. So I decided to look around and see what my grave location was gonna look like, thinking maybe it's a movie theater or a game room. And I turned the lights on to see that it was an actual nuclear missile silo where they held the nukes. And it went 100 feet down, and now this is where I live, I guess. And my phone is now on 1% uploading this TikTok, so if you see this, that's the last time you're gonna... Today I DoorDashed some cooked goldfish from PetSmart because I was really hungry and they were only $3. So I placed the order and walked over to PetSmart to pick it up. But when I got there, I walked in and found the food pickup section and saw all the soon-to-be sushi swimming around in their little tanks that were right next to the not-so-swimming sushi. And that's when I realized maybe pet store food isn't the best move. But I was still super hungry, so I asked an employee if they have anything else to eat, but she told me if I want to act picky, they have rats for sale. So I opened up the rat fridge and I couldn't do it. So I ended up buying some bugs for like $2, which was such a great and amazing deal. And when I got home, I was so hungry that I ripped open the bag of bugs and just told myself that this little grasshopper in my chopsticks is a Cheeto. So I popped it in my mouth and I felt movement. And I spat it out and it jumped out of the bowl! And I panicked and ran to the toilet. And for the next 3 hours, I vomited up my insides. Today, I hiked up to the Hollywood sign, but there was a fence blocking access to it, so I committed a little bit of a crime. And I managed to get through, and I changed the sign to Holly Boob by covering the W with a B for boob. Anyways, I was walking down, and I saw helicopters flying overhead, and I was getting kind of nervous. So I ran into the bushes, and I hid from them, because apparently I was on government property, or whatever that means. Anyways, I got an emergency alert on my phone, and when I checked, it said that there was a $2 million bounty for a 6-foot man in green. So I realized I'll have to live off the grid forever in these bushes, with my only food being Lady Gaga Oreos that I brought as a snack. Anyways, I managed to sneak away to a swamp, but I heard the choppers getting closer. But that's when I looked in the distance and saw none other than a 6-foot man in green in the swamp. I had to act fast, so I grabbed my phone and I dialed 911 and I ratted on Shrek. Anyways, Shrek was arrested and charged with 8 felonies and I got a $2 million reward. So now I'm rich and I bought a mansion. Thanks, Shrek. Today I made a fake plane ticket with my DIY skills so I could go to the Tokyo Olympics, because I think I'm really good at gymnastics. But the problem is Japan is only letting actual Olympic athletes go there because of COVID. So I finessed the system by buying a random plane ticket to Alabama so I could get into the airport. So once I got to the airport, I found the flight that was headed to Tokyo. And then I walked over to the gate to sit down and I crossed off Alabama on my ticket. And then I used it while they were boarding and I managed to board the flight to Tokyo. And after I took my seat, I was just sitting there realizing I'm really going to Japan, huh? And then we took off and I was enjoying the flight until I looked at the safety manual and saw that I was on one of those malfunctioning Boeing 737 MAX planes. You know, the ones that decide they want to be a car while in midair. And that's when I started feeling really bad turbulence. And then I remembered my phone wasn't on airplane mode. And then that's when it got really bad because the plane started falling apart. And all of a sudden the oxygen mask came down and I just accepted that the last song I'll have ever listened to in my life was Ed Sheeran. Anyways, the crowd was getting closer and closer and I actually just fell asleep. Anyways, now I'm in Tokyo. I'm not naming any names, but it'd be a lot of people. A lot of people getting pushed if I was in red light, green light with them. It'd be I was putting my clothes in the dishwasher today because I broke my washing machine when I tried washing dishes in it last week because my dishwasher was broken in the first place. But anyways, I was in the kitchen and heard a snowball hit my window, and when I looked out the window, my elderly neighbor Myrtle had put up a sign that said, "Check your mail." Now, as threatening as that seemed, I was so excited because her son owns the website where you watch Corn with a P. And in the past, she's given me like $1,000 at Christmas and a cute little picture of herself. So I went to the door and grabbed the card, and when I opened it, I noticed that this time there was no gift, which is fine and all, but also the picture she had sent me had some man's hand in the corner. And on the card, there was weird capitalization, so I highlighted the capital letters and it spelled "help me," and I started freaking out. So I drove over to her house, which was 50 feet away. Sorry, Greta Thunberg. And I was gonna save her from being choked, but when I got there was a van outside that said 50 Shades of Play. And I think that's what Myrtle's into. So now I'm traumatized. Today I went to go see Billie Eilish at Coachella, but before she came on, there was this dude wearing a big sparkly onesie who opened for her that kept staring at me, and I was thinking to myself, what's up, do you have a staring problem, buddy? But anyways, he did a little dancey dance thing, and Shrek was in the audience and seemed to love it. But his cameraman kept getting in the way and then turned to me, and the next thing I knew, rewind that. He put me on the big screen, and I freaked out and went behind the cameraman and started unplugging random cables from his camera, and it turned off the video on the screen. But anyways, then Billie Eilish came on and kept invading my personal space and staring at me, and I was like, do celebrities never get taught that staring is rude? Why are you yelling at me? But then she did her little dancey dance and left the stage, and I took a golf cart home from Coachella, and when I woke up the next morning, I checked my phone to see a DM from Billie herself asking if I was at her show with a winky face. And I replied, no, silly Billie, here's a restraining order, leave me alone. And I went back to bed. I was scrolling through the deep web when I saw an ad for a GoFundMe to get the Queen an air fryer before she dies. So I went to it and saw no one had donated. So I gave her $5 and went to bed. But when I woke up the next morning, I got an email that it was shut down by GoFundMe. And I knew the Queen still needs an air fryer, so I packed my bags and went to the airport to book the next flight to London to bring her an air fryer that I bought for her. And after 10 hours, I landed and Ben was in the Big Ben. So I took the train to the Buckingham Palace where she lives. But when I got there, they had it gated off and I couldn't go in to see the Queen. So I found another entrance with a flimsy little fence that I slid under, and then I popped over another fence, but that triggered an alarm. So I was running as fast as I could, and I happened to drop the air fryer, but I had to hide, so I managed to find the Queen's quarters and snuck in, and I thought I was safe until... I woke up on some cliffs, on an island with nothing but a note on my arm that said,
Please, they won't let me air fry.
Elizabeth, I will save you. I wanted to go to Chili's today, but it was burning down, so instead I went to go get sushi. But it was one of those places where it comes on a conveyor belt and you can take what you want, except for this piece of shrimp that refused to cooperate and wouldn't release. But it's okay, because they also have a screen you can order from, so I ordered myself some crispy rice and it zoomed by faster than I could say, no officer, I had nothing to do with the Chili's burning down. Anyways, then I saw these nasty cubes that look like Minecraft gravel and I lost my appetite. So I put all the plates down the chute since I was done with them, when I wondered, what's actually in there? And it said, please don't insert hands or objects, but what did I do? Hit record on my phone and insert it into the slot, which was really smart because then I dropped it down into the chute and had to call over a waiter in shame, and he told me that non-plate items go out the garbage chute around back. So I went down this creepy corridor and finally found it, and when I grabbed my phone and sat down to check what footage I had recorded, I saw... I was making sushi with raw chicken instead of raw fish, but I accidentally dropped it on the floor, and when I bent over to pick it up, I saw my legs and wondered if I could wax them so they would feel like 2 slippery hot dogs. So I canceled my chicken sushi, and once I was done cleaning it all up, I went to my garage to find a bottle of Gorilla Glue to wax my legs. But here's the big old catch. I can't make a single noise waxing my legs, because if I wake up my dog, she will literally pee herself in the beanbag chair. So with that in mind, I grabbed some plastic wrap and put the glue on it and made a little waxing strip. Then I knelt down and put the strip on slowly, and at first I was like, this isn't too bad. It just kind of feels kind of numb, and then it started burning, and I realized I had to do it now, so I ripped it off, and it didn't get the wax off! I panicked and I tried to wipe it off, but it just shredded the paper towel and got even stickier. And also my dog woke up and peed herself. But at least the sushi was kind of fire. I was trying to sell my kidneys on the black market when I got an ad for Shein Eats, and apparently they sell food now. So I ordered some Mexican food because I was really hungry. But when it arrived, it came in what looked like a reused tissue box, and it had a fragile sticker, but it was looking more like a burrito bowl at this point. Anyways, I compared it to the picture in the ad, and it looked nothing like it. But the worst part is there was corn in it, and I'm allergic. And I was beyond mad, so I looked at the shipping label, and it said it was shipped all the way from China. So you know what I did? I was on that next flight to China, and after I boarded the plane next to the world's biggest Facebook mom with this suitcase, the food was actually pretty good, a little bit better than Shein's. But anyways, when I landed, I remembered it was the Olympics here in Beijing, so I decided to go to that instead of getting revenge on Shein. Happy Valentine's Day. Aww. Today, I threw away all my electronics so I could join the Amish and live a simple life. But after about 10 minutes, I got really bored of harvesting wheat and apples and wanted to watch a good old YouTube video. But I didn't have any devices to watch YouTube on, so I obviously walked over to the YouTube headquarters. And when I got there, I managed to walk right in, and I found an empty room with a TV in it so I could watch a few videos from my personal collection. Anyways, after I had cured my boredom, I left the room and raided the YouTube fruit counter and grabbed an orange and an apple and a DVD copy of the videos I watched. But when I finally got home, I realized I can't play this because I don't have a record player. But I looked around my room and saw an old radio speaker thing and popped the CD in it just so I could listen to the audio and imagine the video in my mind. But when it started playing, it sounded like it was coming from outside my house, and that's when I realized I had it set to broadcast. And I ran outside to see every radio in the vicinity was playing. Today, I accidentally burned out my house because I was boiling Listerine and Red Bull to make delicious tea when I saw a wasp had waltzed into my house. And I'm extremely allergic, so I grabbed a container to try and capture him so I could send him back to hell. And I got him, but then I realized if I try and get the lid on, he's gonna fly out and sting me, and then I will end up in hell and he will haunt me forever. So I dropped it and I ran and grabbed a piece of paper, and then I put it back on and slid it under. And I actually managed to pull out the paper, and I had successfully abducted him. So I put him on a plate and microwaved him until he lit up. Just kidding. I realized I'll definitely go to hell if I do that, so I let him outside and carefully put him down and released the hatches, and he kicked it away. So then he got up and chased me inside, and I closed the door and I thought I was safe. And oh, I forgot to turn the stove burner off, and I was enjoying some olives and yogurt when a piece of paper slipped through my mail slot. And when I went to go check it, a huge box flew through the slot and hit me in the head. That's when I remembered I ordered this game called Incoherent from Amazon at like 2 a.m. But nevertheless, I was so excited to play it. But I realized I don't have any friends around me to play with. So I decided to call some of my besties instead. I dialed the number and I was like, hey bestie, and they said, this is
Taco Bell?
So I was like, okay, first round, neck key Minaj.
Please don't call this number again.
And I said, no silly, it's Nicki Minaj. What about pressed feet 10?
Yeah, we're taking your phone number to the police.
And I was like, no, it's breastfeeding, duh. Oh, the police are really coming home.
I opened my window for the first time in weeks today to collect a bunch of my fly friends. But they were being very lazy, so I decided to harvest them and put them to work. For example, say I don't want to pay for my $21 breakfast burrito, I simply call my fly babies into battle and leave a body on the plate when I'm finished. Sometimes, for good measure, I'll even put one in the water. Then I call over the manager and tell him that there is not only a fly in my food, but I am gravely allergic to the fly. Then when the bill comes, I change the total to a negative and then they pay me back. Another great reason why you should always carry a bag of dead flies with you is for retail therapy. I want to treat my mom with some makeup, so I simply find a tester and drop a quick friend on it. Then I take it to the front counter and tell them that I could have put a fly in my mom's eye. Then they give it to me for free and I go about my day. But guess what? It even works at Olive Garden. After I'm seated, finally, I get my free breadsticks and I take one into the bathroom and sacrifice one of my babies for the cause. Then once the fly is on the breadstick, I exit the bathroom and walk over to the management and tell them that there is a fly on my breadstick. And boom, refund. So next time you're looking at the poor lost souls on your windowsill, just say, come on, man, it's time to scam. I was at a huge party with all my friends, but they aren't really fun. Except for you, Bob. And I was wishing I had a fun skater group to hang out with. So I decided to grab my passport. Not that passport, but my Tinder passport. It lets me see and match profiles from across the world for free. And now I have a whole group of friends, and I don't need these bozos anymore. Now the only thing I need is a good skater fit.